Hey guys, we've been waiting so long to drop this video on the new Hunt Arsenal stick, sold exclusively through EWO. You know, I've been invited to collaborate on this project, give a lot of feedback, a lot of testing. I hunted off this stick all year long, did a lot of modifications and tweaks based on what I found in the field. Super excited to bring this one to you today. We're going to run back in the archery room where it's not quite as cold, but I want to show it to you on a tree. This is a freaking awesome one sticking stick, guys. Stick around. Okay guys, like we talked about, back in the archery room, a little bit warmer in here. We can take our time, go slow, get in as much detail as you guys want to. If I happen to miss anything that you're interested in, have questions about, drop me a comment in the, or drop me a question in the comments below, and I'll definitely do my best to come back. You guys know I take my time with everybody, try to answer everybody's questions. So let's get into it. The Hunt Arsenal Solo Stick. So it's going to be sold exclusively through EWO, Eastern Woods Outdoors. You can find them at EWO Outdoors, doublesteps.com, all that. As I mentioned out there on the tree, I was very graciously invited to participate in this collab and do a lot of the field testing on this. Hunted off this all year, gave my opinions on it, gave a lot of feedback, and we made a lot of modifications and tweaks. I know a lot of people asked about, man, I thought it was going to drop a long time ago. Well, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that come up with a design, they have a CAD drawing, they send it off, they get production models, and guess what? The first round of consumers are the field testers. That's never a good thing. So I kind of bit the bullet. I mean, I was honored to do so, but I hunted off the prototype, which is back behind me, all year long, and there were times that you know, I would jump on a team text message, a thread that we created between Hunt Arsenal and Dan with Eastern Woods Outdoors, Scott at Hunt Arsenal, and myself, and we would just collaborate and talk about things that needed to be changed and tweaked, and we're like, let's get it right before it comes out. So yeah, here it is, guys. It is you'll notice everyone, it's pretty darn sexy. It is a proprietary carbon tube. And I say proprietary for a reason. It's not just an off-the-shelf carbon tube where some carbon tube manufacturer makes thousands of 15-foot long carbon tubes, right? And you go, man, I want to order, you know, 700 of, you know, 12-inch and a 15-inch or whatever, and they chop them off and send them to you. This carbon tube was developed exclusively and specifically for this stick, exclusively for Hunt Arsenal. It's got some really cool features on it. It's, like I said, it's just not your normal thing. It's made to stand up to the pressures and the side pressures and the angles that we as saddle hunters put on it. Glued with an extremely strong glue, held in place with 2 pins top, 2 pins bottom. This thing has went through deconstructive testing in its formative stages. It'll go through more. It's an awesome stick, guys. Obviously fully machined aluminum platforms, top and bottom. Chamfered or angled edge built into it for the comfort of your feet. You guys know I've got a video out there, you know, about what platform choices and how they can hurt your feet, especially combined with poor boot choices, right? And one of the things I found early in my saddle hunting career, years and years and years ago, if you were going to stand on a hard edge, especially on the arches of your feet, man, it could really do some damage. And so this, you'll notice this has a really nice angled edge. Show you that out there on the tree. Also built in a really nice V-notch here for your tether rope. So as you're going up and you're making your moves, and it'll hold your tether rope right there, which in turn, until you wrap around your one sticking rope, will hold this absolutely in place. And there's some guys who go off to the side and everything like that. Man, that's doing it the hard way, I think. Let your rope do all the work. Let it hold. Stick this thing, jam it up there underneath the tether. Let it do the work. It'll hold it. That's what that notch is for. I mentioned wrapping the one stick rope around. You'll notice here, in conjunction with the 3/16 full berry Amstel rope made by the Amstel guy, Scott at Hunt Arsenal came up with a way to center that rope so it pulls directly from the center of the cam cleat. You know, the old style, I'm gonna swap back and forth during this video, guys, a couple times to show you some of the improvements that were made. The old style for back with Harkin or Schaefer cam cleats that we've all got a lot of experience with, the rope had to be either above the cam cleat or below it. A lot of times I choose to run it below it, but you had to have some kind of a special, with this I've got a special little holder that holds the rope where it's girth hitched around the tube, or the square tube and other. It's holding it in place so it can't fall down, but it takes a special little tool, and it's still not centered on the stick in the cam cleat area that well. This cam cleat in this design absolutely centers it directly behind, in the middle, in the center of this cam cleat. You'll also notice this is EWO's exclusive proprietary cam cleat. I've got a video showing how I reach down and I ease out the rope of the cam cleat. You can actually yank this a little bit harder than you could a Harkin or a Schaefer, and it won't snap and pop and ping like those two cam cleats will. It eases back a little bit easier and a little bit better. It's also fully machined aluminum instead of plastic pieces on Harkins or Schaefers. So that's really cool. It is a directional cam cleat. This one goes right to left, and I'll be honest with you, that's opposite of the way I throw my rope around the tree. So it takes some getting used to for someone like me. The good news is I've double checked with Dan at Eastern Woods Outdoors. There will be the opposite direction available by the time the production model comes out, because I had a learning curve. I mean, when you do something hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, like I do, one sticking up and down trees over years and years and years, man, anything that throws your game off is hard to deal with. And so I'm like, we've got to have a cam cleat. I might be in the minority, but I've got to have a cam cleat that goes the opposite direction, because I throw my rope around right to left instead of left to right. You'll notice a larger platform on the bottom. It's akin or equivalent to an ultimate lower step that's sold through Eastern Woods Outdoors. And I'll go ahead and address this because a lot of people, you know, when I'm as well known and I teach one sticking as much as I do, I get a lot of private messages and DMs and Instagram and emails through my website. And people, one of the more popular questions is, do you like an ultimate lower step or do you use a double step? Well, if you watch any of my videos, you'll notice I only use a double step. This is my personal ultimate one stick with the UP top, and you'll notice I'm just running a double step on bottom. Because if you'll notice the UP, how thick and heavy it is, it's a heavy piece of metal. It's a big hunk of metal. And if I added another hunk that size right there on the bottom, I can tell you it gets up over 5 pounds. I mean, there's tree stands that weigh less than that. And so for me, I've always told people I don't hang out long enough on the lower step to make it worth having a mini platform or an ultimate lower step. The ROI, the return on investment, just isn't there for me. I don't hang out long enough to warrant having a big, heavy, clunky piece of metal. Well, two things that's changed and why this stick is what it is. One is as I've refined my technique over the years, right? I mean, I started one sticking several years ago. I'm not going to say many, but several years ago. My first couple of years, I just kind of went ahead and I did climb on up. And as I've since refined it over the last couple of years, I get to the bottom step and I do pause. And I do hang out there a little bit, because what I'm doing is I'm taking my tether, because when I first start my move, I put it as high up as I can. Then I climb up to the lower step, and now I've introduced some tether slack, right? And so at that point, I'm about halfway up through my move. I stop and I slide that tether on up again, go ahead and step one up to the top, and then slide it up one final time. So I actually slide my tether up a couple times throughout each move. So I am hanging out there a little bit, right? This is a little bit more of a comfortable spot to hang out now with this. Also, you notice it's the same proprietary, if you will, method of machining that Hunt Arsenal is known for. If you guys, you're familiar with their Razor Mag 2.0s and all the mini platforms that come out, they're super sleek, super sexy, super strong, and just as importantly, super light. Well, the same technology went into the top platform and the bottom platform here. So now I can get that foot space, I can gain that real estate, and not lose that ROI, not lose that, having that huge hunk of metal that I'm like, man, that's not worth picking up an extra 20 ounces, which is what an ultimate lower step weighs. I'm not giving up. I'd rather take the double step on the bottom for 2 ounces, 1.8, versus the 20 for an ultimate lower step. But now I get the best of both worlds. I get something that weighs 2 ounces, the same as the double step, but I get all the real estate of an ultimate lower step. So that's why this is on here. Also, you'll notice in here that there's a couple different ways to attach an aider. Hey guys, as you look at this stick, one of the first things a lot of people look at is the bottom step platform, if you will. And you'll see that it's got this little weird kind of a shape here. And what that is that's a place for the Hunt Arsenal Max aiders to attach there. And those aiders actually have a really good covering that fits in there, and it's a really snug fit. So if you're a fan of the Max aiders with that big kind of a plank look, it really kind of encompasses your foot really well. It gives you a very good sturdy step area. So that's exactly what these two are for. I'll just tell you and be honest with you, I am a huge fan. You guys know, a huge fan of John Richards' Ultimator. This is his newest pack and play. It's called the Pack and Play Plush. After he got a chance to look and work with my backpack and look at that, he hit me up and said, man, I'd love to get access to the fabric that you use for that. So as you guys know, we call my backpack the Stealth Pack. This is a very similar. It's not the exact same fabric, but it's really close. It will not make any sound. It's very plush sounding, right? That's why it's called the Pack and Play Plush. So we have, you'll see, this is exactly almost like a little bit over an inch. This is exactly for any kind of a webbing style aider. If you use something from Backwoods Mobile Gear or whatever, some kind of a webbing aider like that, that's where we like and recommend attaching that for. So you got two different attachment options there. Another thing I'll point out too is this bungee cord put on here. A lot of times you'll see with my stick, I wrap it around and then try to bring it back through the cam cleat. This bungee cord allows it to remain tight on here, and a very clean look. It keeps everything in line, holds it really well. So that will point that out to you. Have two hooks because you know, you can't wrap around a standoff if there's not a standoff if it's built into the platform, which these are. So that's another thing that we'll point out. And then when you're setting your stick, I'll show you this. So the original, if you look really closely, these teeth are chamfered at about a 45-degree angle. And that's on purpose. The original prototypes were not that way. And I'm big on setting a stick so it doesn't have to move on you. I don't want it to, you know, to give it all. So what you want to do when you set that stick is put it on a tree, pull out just slightly. You want these bottom teeth to come off the tree just a bit, pull out, and lean into it, right? And then all we're going to do is we're going to open up the Pack and Play. What that's going to do is that's going to expose the aider. And a lot of times I stuff this rope, the one-sticking rope. That's made by Sam, the Amsteel guy. He's going to be making all those. Get that out of the way. This is going to expose my aider. And all I got to do is pull it out, drop it, I'm ready to go. A lot of times what you've seen me guys do is I'll put my foot into it, my boot into the bottom rung there, and go ahead and let me get the twist out of it, just make it pretty for the video. Not necessary at all. If I was hunting, I probably wouldn't do that. But I will stick my toe out, I'll pull out just a little bit and put some more weight into it, and just make sure that stick isn't gonna budge. It doesn't matter which aider you use, I just happen to be a fan of the Ultimator, but it will hang straight down, and then you can roll it up. If you pair it with a Pack and Play, man, that's my favorite combo, right? So that's the whole bottom step. You'll notice that there's integrated standoffs into each platform, very much like the Ultimate platform. I may be wrong in saying this, but I believe the Ultimate platform was the first platform in the one-sticking world that came out with integrated standoffs. I'm pretty sure it was. First one that I saw, I remember, and I've seen about everything. And so this one, again, like that, has the integrated standoffs into it. It comes in a 12 and a 15-inch version. Everybody at the ATA saw the 15-inch. I have the 12. And the reason why I asked for a 12-inch to be made available too is I'm a firm believer in the gains that you make in one sticking don't come from the length of your stick. They come from the big moves that you make, right? It's high, putting your stick on the tree as high as you can, climbing that aider up, putting your tether up as high as you can, pull yourself up on the tether, reach way down, grab the stick. You do that, you can gain 7, 8 foot, 9 foot at a time. Right? I mean, until the leaves fall off the trees, 2 moves and I'm hunting until the leaves fall off. Then it's 3 or 4. But that's where your gains are coming from, not the length of your stick. All things being equal, I want a 12-inch stick because you guys know on my videos, you see me climb a lot of straight trees because it's a video. I'm trying to just instruct or teach or display or exhibit something really quickly as much as I can and still teach coherently and succinctly. So I don't go around, and I'm going to have a video called Limbs and Leaners coming out. But when I'm hunting, it's a whole different world. I rarely hunt a tree without limbs, and most of them are multi-limbed. And I was actually testing a product for a vendor last year, a one sticking stick that was about to hit the market, and a guy sent it to me, and it was a 15-inch stick, and I immediately when I opened it up, I'm like, God, that's it's long. It looks long, and man, the first tree I went into a bedding area. There aren't straight trees in bedding areas, not in the Midwest. And I got up. I was on my second or third move, and I took the stick up, and I tried to put it where it needed to be, where the next move would be, and I could not get it to fit on the trunk of the tree because limbs were in the way by about that much. I'm like, man, if I had a 3-inch shorter stick, if I had my little 12-inch stick, I could slip it right in there and keep on going. And as it was, I had to swing around the back of the tree. It just created all kinds of trouble. You know, a 12-inch stick is less weight, less mass, less bulk. I can stick it on a tree where I want to, and that's not where your height's coming from anyway. All things being equal, I'll take a 12-inch stick all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So I'm like, guys, we got to have a 12-inch stick. So we've got 12-inch sticks and we got 15-inch sticks. Again, the machined aluminum platinum platform, integrated standoffs, much like the UP. In fact, we'll show you how it compares to the UP right here. The foot room, really not dissimilar for the weight gain. For the weight savings, 2.3 pounds in its current platform. If you added a ultimate lower step to the UP that I've got here, it comes out to 5.4. Well, I'm sorry, 4.6. 4.6 pounds for a 12-inch UP, a 12-inch ultimate one stick with a UP top and ultimate lower step. A 12-inch stick would be 4.6 pounds. Again, compared to 2.3. Now, we all know that you have to have 8ers to one stick. I mean, it's just, that's one of the 4 rules, right? You need a cam cleat, you need a 40-foot rappel rope, you need Dynaglide to pull it down, you need an 8er. I mean, you can't one stick without an 8er. So you guys will see my favorite 8ers. I love the Ultimator. I love to pair it with a pack and play. You can add to a 2.3 pound stick, which is in its current configuration in a 12-inch form, if you will. You can add an Ultimator, which is a little bit on the heavier side of 8ers. You can buy lighter 8ers for sure. Dano sells lighter webbing 8ers for sure. But if you add an Ultimator and a pack and play, it takes us from 2.3 pounds to 3.1. So just a hair over 3 pounds. If you add that same configuration to the UP with the ultimate lower step, you're at 5.4, almost 5.5 pounds. So you're gaining by, if you made a move to the Hunt Arsenal solo stick, sold through EWO, you're saving over 2 pounds, almost 2.5 pounds by going to this version. It's, guys, it's super light. When the Timber Ninjas and Tethered One Sticks and Jamie's Tree Sticks came out, everyone's, I mean, when you pick those things up for the first time, you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe how light it is. I'm telling you guys, when you get this stick in your hands, you're gonna feel the same way about the solo stick. It is so light, and that's why I actually had 2 guys message me actually today, and they're like, dude, are you really gonna jump ship and start hunting with a new stick? Yeah, I am. I pretty much hunted off of it all last year, and it will be definitely my go-to stick moving forward. You know, I'm a minimalist. I don't like carrying a lot of weight. I don't like carrying things that I need to spend the night. I mean, I'm hunting in the Midwest. I can walk one direction any one way and find a road in a couple hours, right? I don't need tons of stuff. I want as light as possible. And I used to have as light as possible. Here's the stick I used to carry in with me was this little 12-inch stick with a Scout on it. It's because I didn't need a lot. I just carried it in one hand and a bow in another. Well, you guys know when I developed my backpack, I felt a little bit better about carrying a heavy stick in. That's when I kind of moved over to the ultimate one stick with the UP. But it's kind of heavy, but centered on my back, right between my shoulder blades as I'm walking in, I never really felt it. Because this stick right here is lighter by far. It's lighter than the one I used to carry in. So I get the best of all worlds. I get the foot room of the UP pretty much, and I get the weight even less than any stick I've ever owned, ever, period. Again, 2.3 pounds. Comes with a wire handle if you're big into using that. I've got a video that shows I don't even use it, but it's there. We are going to add a little cloth tag, like a zipper tag or something like you see sometimes on coats or something like that, so to make it easy, because you can, like, I go ahead and if I shove this on in, it's hard to get out. I usually kind of leave it just a little bit like that for demo purposes. But if I want to, I could go ahead and shove it on in, but we'll put a little tag on there to make it easy. It does come with integrated rope hooks, both top and bottom, because as you guys know, if you've ever used a platform or a stick with integrated standoffs, there's nowhere to wind your rope around. So this will come with integrated rope hooks, both top and bottom. And here's the cool thing about it. It's going to come with a little bungee cord, shock cord, elastic cord, bungee on the bottom. And this is really nice. So you can go ahead and just loop it around the bottom. And it's going to really tighten up and tidy and clean up the lines of how you store your rope during transport. You know, here's before we kind of added that to the original prototype. This is the way I had to do it. I wrapped around, and finished off with a cam cleat. So this cleat, I mean, you can see the difference of how that looks versus that is a whole lot cleaner, neater, tighter, and sexier. Showing you some of the differences that we came up with during the prototype testing and my field testing is you'll notice there's a tremendous difference in the platform shape. And actually, if I turn around and show it to you the right way, it would help. But you know, this was big, squared off. And you know, I get that question a lot of times. People realize that I hunt with a 12-inch stick for the reasons I cited. And I get that question a lot. I'm like, man, don't you bang your shins on the platform as you're climbing with a 12-inch stick? I'm like, man, I've never, ever hit my shins or leg or boot or anything on a platform as I'm climbing it. And one of the reasons why, I actually had to stop and dissect that and pause and like, why is everybody else hitting their shins on the platform and I'm not? And finally, next time I went in the woods, I like really had to stop and pay attention. I'm like, oh, they must be going up the front of the platform with their shins and going up, and I'm going around. And so I never hit my shins, my legs, my inner calves, anything until the first prototype when I started hunting this year off this. And I was making contact with the sides of this platform. And then I would go back and I would hunt off my UP. And I didn't. Back to normal. Never hit my shins. I'd go back to this one and I'd hit my shins again on the sides. And so one day I was hunting and I just reached, I looked down and I took a picture with my iPhone of this platform. And I opened up in the edit function and I'm like, man, we need to cut out, I'm just hitting just a little bit right there. We need to cut that out of the platform. And we did, we made this cutout here, and man, things just opened up right away. I never hit anything. But then there was a serendipity in that once we did this, two things happened. I didn't lose any of the foot room because most of my arch of my heels and everything is back here, right? And it's that comforted, chamfered edge right here. So I didn't really, even though it's missing right here, I'm not giving up any foot room. It's 12 inches across from here to here. That's my shoulder width. That's well within my shoulders as my feet. If I can keep them straight and keep a good, comfortable distance between my heels, it's just a straight down. It's a nice, steady stride or stance for me. I really didn't lose anything here. So, and then secondly, I stopped hitting my legs. And then thirdly, when I want to walk around, and if I want to walk around the front of the tree to take a weak side shot, guys, I'm putting all my weight against that right now, every bit of it. With clothes on, I'm 200 pounds. I'm basically bouncing and flexing on this right now. It's going to support you for a shot for around the back of the tree. Come around. If you want a weak side shot over here, guys, just walk yourself around the tree, push off on that little flange right there. You got a perfect weak side shot. You know, that's everyone's Achilles heel in saddle hunting, right? Especially, I mean, saddle hunting period, but especially one sticking. I don't even know if I could say especially one sticking. It's just everyone's Achilles heel in saddle hunting. How do you get that weak side shot? Well, a lot of people combat it with a ring of steps or something like that where you can walk yourself around the tree. You know the cool thing about this cutout now is you can walk yourself around the tree, push off with your boot right there, and reach right around a tree and take that weak side shot via a strong side now by walking around the front of the tree. It's a really cool, again, serendipitous feature, meaning that necessarily wasn't looking for it, but oh my gosh, does it really help, okay? So so that's built into it, right? You'll see the V-notch here. We talked about that, I think, as well. So again, I think that pretty much covers everything. If you want to know nitty gritty details, because I know everybody's like, man, give me all the stats, give me all the figures, give me everything else. So I went ahead and measured stuff for you here. The old UP, just to give you a baseline, if you will. The old UP, and everyone knows I measure from a tabletop to, that's considered, if you want to look at it just for reference, it's a baseline. If you want to consider that the back of the tree, from the tabletop to where the bend in an angled UP starts. Now you can get a flat UP, right? I just don't happen to have ever bought one or hunted off one. But from the tabletop to this bend right here is 5.5 inches. From the, if you turn it, let me make it apples to apples. If you've got your standoff here, from the tabletop to the back of this is 8.25 inches. So you're getting about 3 more inches from the tree. Now there is a 2.5 inch angled lip here, but it's down. It's kind of, if you're standing up straight, it's hard to take advantage of it. If you're a leaner like I am, well then you've got it. But now you're at 2.5 inches. Okay, so here you've got this whole chamfered or angled edge there. Not a huge one. I'm not trying to overplay it. It's slight, but it's just enough to make it comfortable. Trust me, I do not want to lean on something that's going to be uncomfortable. I think I mentioned this measurement here. From tip to tip is 12 inches. From tip to tip on this very far tip is 13.5 inches on the UP. But it's just a very, very small part here. But it's enough if you're out there that you can lean up against it. So 12 inches. From here to here, again, my feet kind of go over that. But again, across the middle, 7.5 inches. Across the middle here, you're talking about 10 inches. 2.3 versus, if I had an ultimate lower step on here, 4.6. So I think that's every spec, weight, width, length, everything I can think of. I know, well, the last remaining question, guys are like, man, something like that's going to be, what are you guys going to charge for it? $500-600? Best I can tell right now, everything, it sounds like it's going to be about 400-ish. Pretty darn good deal for a 2.3 pound stick that does everything you need. Throw on an aider, ultimate aider, pack and play, 3.1. You got a complete setup. It'll do anything you want to. Climb any tree up to 40 foot high. Final price yet to be determined, but that's going to be ballpark. Okay. So guys, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. But just wanted to say, appreciate Scott at Hunt Arsenal, Dan at Eastern Woods Outdoors, both of those guys for letting me get involved in this project, giving a lot of feedback, helping take it to the next level, help give a lot of feedback just to so that you guys aren't the first time end users and go, man, I should have done this or they should have done that or whatever, and all of a sudden, because that's what happens with a lot of customers, a lot of consumers with products. So hopefully we did that, we took care of it for you, and you guys will be super, super happy with this stick. We'll catch you on the next one, next time around.